Hello, everybody. It's so good to see you all.
Hi.
Oh my goodness. Happy 2022.
Yes.
It feels like forever since I saw you all. It's so lovely to see you all again. So the reason that we're having this discussion today is because when I came into 2022, there was a wonderful energy that happened when we came into the year. And I've noticed that so many people have started to wake up. So many people have started to challenge the narrative, if you like, of our world. And whilst I'm seeing some really, really positive energy around people talking about the other side of the split, if you like, so the bifurcation, the splitting of the energies, service to self versus service to others, the organic ascension timeline versus the transhumanist ascension or transhumanist timeline. I see a lot of people talking about what's happening on the service to self timeline and what can we do to fight, what can we do to change, what can we do to anchor our energy almost into that, which is great. That's absolutely great. But what I would like to do is to see more energy around our timeline, our side of the split. So the New Earth ascension timeline, organic ascension timeline, what does that look like? And the reason I want to do that is because, as we know, where you focus your energy, that's where you create, that's where you manifest. And we know this as creator beings, as light workers, as awakened human beings on earth at this time. So what I would like to see more of personally is people like us coming together and saying what we want. What do we want? What does our future look like? What does New Earth look like? How's the ascension going to work? Are the things that we need to do in order to get ready for that ascension event? Is the things that we need to create as a community? Because the more we anchor our energy into that, we literally bring it into being. And I feel that the time is now for that. You know, we've spent enough time waking people up. That's what a good proportion of our work is all about, isn't it? It's about waking people up and helping people to heal. But I feel that now in this new year, we need to start anchoring our energy into creating that new earth and bringing it into our actual reality. So there's a few things that I would like to discuss with you guys today and get your view on and see what you think. I want to talk obviously mostly about ascension and new earth. What does the ascension event look like? You know, is it a solar flash? Is it the fact that we access that fifth dimensional space through our hearts? Is it all of us coming together as a community and building up that frequency that allows us to access it? Do we go in our meat suits? Do we turn into crystalline beings? Do we access our light bodies? What does New Earth look like? What do we need to do as a community in order to bring that energy into our reality? Lots and lots of questions. But first of all, I would like to go around everybody and for you to introduce yourselves. So for you to give your full name, whereabouts in the world you're based, and a little bit about yourselves. So if we start off with Claire.
Hi, my name's Claire Osborne and I'm from Cheshire, UK. I'm obviously a SCHH practitioner with yourselves, but I also do quantum coaching and I do manifestation coaching as well.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Lynette, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Lynette Ferguson. I am in Wyoming, United States. And as well as being an SCHH practitioner, I'm also a spiral emotional release practitioner, a Reiki master. I am also using tuning forks, using sound to do sound healing, and many other things.
so many things. It's lovely to see you today, Lynette. Thank you so much. Yvette, the beautiful Yvette Shepherd. I've just introduced you.
Oh, bless you.
Tell us all your full name and whereabouts you're based.
I'm Yvette Shepherd. I'm based in Nottinghamshire, England, Robin Hood country. Essentially, I'm a quantum healer. So do all sorts of modalities, but all using quantum energy, and hypnotherapist specialising in regression for healing.
Thank you. Derek.
Hello, I'm Derek Mendelson. I'm living in Hermanus in South Africa. I'm obviously an SCHH practitioner, and I'm also working with crystals and doing crystal healing.
And that is an absolutely fabulous shirt, Derek. I have to mention it. It has to be acknowledged. Wow.
Thank you.
Miranda.
Hi, I'm Miranda Ray. I am based out of Arkansas, USA. I am also an SCHH practitioner. I also do shamanic healing and medical intuitive work and offer distance energy healing as well. And I'm just so glad to be here with you guys. It's good to see your smiling faces again.
Thank you so much for coming on, Miranda. And Emily.
Hello. So my name's Emily Lemos and I am based in London, UK. I'm also an SCHH practitioner, but I also do QHHT from London.
Thank you so much, everybody. So first question for you guys, and I'm going to go around again like we just did to give everybody the opportunity to answer. The first thing that I want to ask is, as a community now, we've all woken up. We've all found each other. We've all found each other through these healing modalities. But as a community now, what do we need to be doing to get ourselves ready for ascension? What can we do better? Is there anything that we need to put in place as a community in order to better get our energy ready to transition into the fifth dimension? And so I'll go to Claire first on that question. Claire, what are your thoughts around that?
Well, I think that as a community, we need to become more self-sufficient. We don't need to get permission to get on and do what we got to do, which is, yes, grow our crops. If we want to grow our crops, grow food, but it's also about learning how to look after each other, because I think that's what's lost. And if you look back at the time of, when our parents were younger and people cared for one another and a village would raise the children. And it's just that coming together and sharing and being kind, because all together we have different skills. And if we have all these minds in one community, then we're not going to be lacking at all. And it is about sharing. And it's by bringing in all the skills that we need. There are certain little communities that are forming that I'm aware of, and they're starting to form and people are bringing in themselves. But it is also about being self-sufficient and educating yourself how to grow, how to feed, how to do all these things, how to pickle things. Nobody knows how to pickle something. They'll go off to the supermarket, they'll buy a jar of pickles. How do we even do that? People need to learn. We all need to grow up, I think, and really become self-sufficient, not just for ourselves, but for our community.
I totally agree with you. And there was a key thing that you said there for me, and that was about kindness, learning to care for each other. That's something that I feel is totally missing out of society. And when you show kindness to somebody, they look at you in utter astonishment.
Yes, they do. They do. They think you want something from them.
Yeah. And there's a moment where they just stop. You can see their brains just stop. They're thinking, what's the angle?
Yeah.
Why have they just done that?
Yeah.
People have almost forgotten what kindness is, because it's been gradually trained out of people, hasn't it?
It has. And the thing is, because a lot of people are socializing via technology, and I was having this conversation with someone already recently, our cup of socializing is getting full, but not in the correct way. So this is why people don't really mix with one another so much. It's like, well, I'm that area is filled. I've ticked that box. I need me time. But they're not getting that interaction with another human being. And again, when you show kindness to others, or you just be in the same space of high vibrational people, it raises up. Because when two people are together with high vibration, it creates such a big vibration, more than just one. Can you imagine an entire community who are on that level, And kindness is a very high vibration. And just to get that going.
And, I hear so often about, it's all about heart energy, growing heart energy. The heart energy's got to get bigger. It's got to be bigger than the body. It's got to come out in terms of alignment with the other energy centers so that it's bigger. And it starts with kindness.
Yes.
That heart energy starts with kindness, making your decisions with the heart. Because if you make your decisions with your heart, you're always going to be kind, aren't you?
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
So
exactly.
I agree completely with that. Thank you. Lynette, what do you think? What do we need to be doing as a community?
The thing that's been standing out to me just over the last year is as light workers, there's a lot of us, and there's a lot of people with differing opinions and differing channelings and insights and so on and so forth. And what I'm seeing is almost like like you're on the dark, and so it's like targeting or pegging light workers as dark workers, and we need to get rid of all that. Like, we need to really just stop. Like, that's not moving in the direction of unity consciousness. And so it's like, just surround yourself with people that vibrate at your vibration and leave the rest, right? But don't actively seek to like destroy or disparage other people, because that's not bringing the vibration that we want. That's not keeping our vibration high. And so I feel like that is like something that's super key right now, is just for us to just surround yourself with people who are vibrating, at your resonance, and leave the rest, and just leave it. Like, just let people do what they're going to do or be what they're going to be without having to bring other people down.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. Thank you, Lynette. Thank you. Yvette, what do you think?
Well, firstly, I just have to say that, because it made me smile when Claire mentioned, about pickling things, and never have I pickled before until last autumn. My gosh, was I in my element. So suddenly, and I don't know what triggered it in me, always go on a morning walk at 6:30 because it's beautiful, still and clear. It's just beautiful. And honestly, my daughter's like, can we just walk on now? No, let me just get some more blackberries, elderberries. I was in my element with all this, and making jams, making elderberry syrup, putting star anise in, but not only is it high frequency to do that, when you do it, you just feel incredible, because you've created this. I've still got jams, and it's like, I can't believe I've done this. But years ago, it was normal for our grandparents to make jams. And then we kind of got into this, it's better to buy it, or, seen as more affluent to buy it, when actually it's incredibly high frequency when you do that. And you've put all that love into it as well. Love that. But for me, the bit I suppose that I feel that I need more of is this lost wisdom to do with healing. In my Telegram group, I've got an incredible, she's homeopathist. And it's incredible healing, and I wish I could remember the lady years ago. I was watching Gaia TV, and there was a lady on there that channeled a certain ET race, and she was saying how incredible homeopathy is for the human body, how brilliant it is for helping to heal. So the homeopathy, but the herbs and things, I mean, to be quite honest, I nearly killed my husband with herbs because I just didn't have the knowledge. I thought I did. I got a book with pictures in. That's fine. I'm just going to go out and get these herbs and make a tea. And I've got these herbs hung up in the conservatory drying out. And a friend said, I'm sure that's, and forgive me if anybody with horses, I don't know what it is. I want to say ragwort or something. There's something that grows in horse fields that's really bad for horses. And it's actually quite poisonous to humans, but it actually looks like a herb that would sort out a tummy ache. So I'm like, oh God. So, things like that. I think that's really, because there are some very powerful herbs, or flowers. You know, I've got foxgloves in the garden. Now, you don't want to give that to somebody to stop the heart, but in the right quantities, it could be beneficial, you know.
Yeah.
And I know you sent me some seeds across with loads of different, you know, herbs and things, but you really do. It's a learned knowledge that I think is quite forgotten. And all that sort of thing really needs to come back to the forefront, because that's been, you know, minimized massively, as if it's, you know, sort of less than modern medicine. And it's just not the case at all.
So 2 things there. Firstly,
Yeah.
I've sampled your jam,
Ah.
and it is absolutely
My first
superb.
batch.
It's the best jam I've ever tasted in my entire life. And me and James, my husband, Mr. Whitworth, we used to stand in the kitchen in the morning, and we used to lovingly spread it on our toast, you know, quite thin, because we didn't want to waste it.
Yeah.
And we actually fought over the last bit in the car. Oh my goodness. I mean, I know it's your super high frequency that went into it, but that was the best tasting jam. And we were both devastated when it ended. But the second thing is, you're totally right about what you say about the herbs. You know, foraging. We've got to bring it back.
Yeah, it gives us everything, doesn't it? To heal.
Everything is on Gaia. Everything that we need is there. We've just got to access, and it's all in our DNA, because we've had these lifetimes where we knew what it all was. We need to bring it back. And don't you feel like there's some kind of brick wall there that you just need to smash through?
Absolutely. We're drawn to them. You know, you go out into the woods and you're drawn to these things, but it's just almost that last little bit of knowledge that almost feels as if, come on, we just need that last little download, and we're good, and we'll know what to do with these. Yeah.
We were in the forest the other day, and I had this urge to like go up to a tree and start scraping bark off it and like smashing it up and making like and I'm thinking, I don't even know what this tree is. You know, and we need to access that ancient knowledge. And you know, we can do that through books and relearning it, but that knowledge is still there within us.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Derek, what do you think?
I'll give you all of you my recipe for pickled cucumbers.
Oh, yeah, that sounds good. Cucumbers are so good for you. Cucumbers are great for lowering blood pressure. If you've got high blood pressure, eat a few cucumbers.
I was making pickled cucumbers the other day.
Wow.
And really, the same as Yvette was saying, I mean, I've made my own tinctures, like the Bach flower remedies. It's not that difficult, and it's like a lot of fun to actually make as well. And we've just got to believe in ourselves as well, that yes, we can do all these things. We don't have to go and shop around and actually buy into the huge companies and that are supplying everything. I mean, I'm living in a pretty small community here in Hermanus. Every Saturday morning, we've got a fabulous farmers market where the farmers come from the surrounding farms and even other little towns. And we can buy everything there, like olive oil, olives, jams, food, vegetables. And you find that so many people come there with their baskets, and they do basically all their shopping at the farmers market, and it's actually supporting your local community as well, rather than the big corporations, which we really need to make an effort to support the local people, to actually help them, because it's the people that you're living with.
There's a big thing about that as well, Derek. Absolutely, you're right. You know, you're supporting your local community, and the money's going back into your local community. But also, I was reading something the other day about, if you eat the food that is grown in your local area, it is physically better for your body. You will get more out of it than you would do by paying for something that's been completely transported from the other side of the globe. That is not going to help your body in the same way that something does from your local community. Also, honey as well. Honey from your local area is one of the best things that you can eat. So yeah, I think that's a really powerful message there, Derek. You know, support your local community in terms of monetary support, but also you're supporting yourself, because if you're eating food that's been grown from your local soil and local environment, it's going to better serve your body. There was something about consciousness as well, and I think I was reading that in a book about the Agarthans. The Agarthans were saying that you absorb the consciousness of the plant as it has grown, and if it's in your local area, local to you, the consciousness of that plant will be better for you than the consciousness of something that was grown in a really war-torn area or low frequency area. So that's food for thought, if you think about it. Miranda, what do you think?
I'm going to agree with Yvette, Derek, and also Claire on this, that local communities really should be developing their skills as far as growing food, herbal, medicinal, stepping away from some of the Western medicine that we're so used to, when we've really had everything that we needed right here on Mother Earth for us. Interestingly enough, this actually kind of came up in a session recently with a client about, she had this interest in herbs and things, and she was wondering, she said, I've never been a gardener, and all of a sudden I have the urge to grow and can. So she's tapping into that higher consciousness and finding ways that she's going to be serving her community, whether she really realizes it or not. She's an excellent teacher. The other thing that I feel is extremely important for developing our communities, and this kind of ties in with what we were talking about, the consciousness, and that is group meditations. I think group meditations within our communities is extremely important, so that we can all help raise those around us that are maybe just a little bit underneath as far as their frequency. So really connecting with each other in a meditation on a regular basis, whether it's weekly, whether it's monthly, and holding space for each other. We know that some of us within the communities are going to be a higher frequency, and there are going to be those that are going to be just waking up, and they really need to be felt and understood. They need a level of compassion. So I think our communities need to develop a better way to hold space for those that are just starting to come into this process. So, yeah.
I totally agree with that. And, it's made me feel really guilty, because I did not meditate half as often as I should have done last year. And probably that was the year that we needed to meditate the most. But it's finding time, isn't it? And when you're so tired, you always end up falling to sleep. But you're totally right. Not only should we be meditating more individually, but we've got to get this collective thing going, haven't we?
Yes.
We've got to get better at coming back together again as a group. Now, this is tricky. This is every light worker's nightmare in a way, because we've spent our entire time on planet Earth trying to keep ourselves hidden, trying to keep ourselves safe, trying to stop ourselves being taken out by other people who literally want to kill us, and not trusting anybody, because the only time we did trust somebody, they literally had us tied to a stake as a witch and all that kind of thing. So now it's almost like you've got to acknowledge all of that and say, that was just the journey of Earth. We've all been on this big journey together to get to this final lifetime. So you've got to let all of that go now and trust and come back together again as a community. And yes, there's going to be hurdles along the way. Yes, there's going to be different viewpoints, and people are potentially sometimes not going to be able to understand each other. But the only thing that matters is that we stick together and we work it out. And at some point, we have to be able to let our guard down and trust people again. And it will happen. It will happen over time. But going back to what you said about meditation, I think that is a huge point, massive point, that often gets overlooked. But if we did acknowledge the importance of it, it's huge. It's huge, particularly group meditations. So I guess we need to think about how we can better serve group meditations amongst us. Can we start doing more meditations? Can we organize them? I'm terrible at organizing meditations. So if that's somebody's particular skill, let's do it. Let's get it sorted out. Emily, what do you think?
Going on from what you're just saying there, actually, Laura, I think that what we've been doing for the past few years is finding our network, you know, finding our tribe. We're so used to being siloed. We've done this by ourselves, you know, being the lone wolves our whole lives. And the past few years have been about, you know, connecting with like-minded people. But I think we're at the point now we need to take it to the next level. And as Claire mentioned, you know, take it to the physical level where we're actually meeting up with people and starting these communities, you know, in real life. And I think that 2022 is going to be about that, which is really exciting. You know, I do actually know of New Earth groups that are forming and they're doing their own thing. You know, they have someone who's a teacher, somebody who is more, you know, academic, or someone who's more on the admin level. They've got doctors, nurses, and they're all joining to make small communities. So I think that's where we need to go to start to work on that, because, you know, we can all meet online, but then I think as things progress on our ascension path, we're going to have to start to depend on people in the physical day-to-day way as well for it to work.
Absolutely. And I feel that as a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
That in our local areas, and it has to be local now because, you know, travel is not as accessible to us as it used to be. In our local areas, we need to start identifying the key people. First of all, who are the awakened people? Building up relationships with those people. Who is your local doctor, dentist who is awakened? You know, who is your local healer? Who is your local person who grows all the things that you need to eat if you don't already grow them yourself? Where's your water? Where is your water? You know, if the power went, what are you going to do? I think all of us need to start looking a little bit more at our local area, but also, I mean, myself and you, Emily, we actually met up, didn't we, over the Christmas
We
period this
did.
year? A few of us met up, and I think we need to start organising more of that wherever you are in the
Absolutely.
world, even if it starts off just as you, and you build that up through going into local groups and finding awakened people and bringing more and more people on board. Start the energy, start it off.
Yeah. I've been noticing as well in sessions actually that people are actually being called to move to different places as well. Doesn't have to be, you know, moving abroad. It could be in their country, but they seem to be moving to the positions they need to be, which is quite interesting as well that that's happening. I think it is for us to start to build these communities where they're needed.
Yeah. And I see it as hubs of light, because we are effectively being pushed out of the old world, aren't we? We're effectively being squeezed out of the old society. So we need to build some positivity and some energy around, okay, well, let's build our own societies. What do they look like? What do we need? And let's start doing it.
Yeah, we don't want to wait till the last minute where we're pushed out. We want to be proactive and start doing it now on our terms, you know, standing in our sovereignty together and make it exciting. Like it's something amazing. We can build a whole new world for ourselves. So rather than think, oh, we've got to leave everything behind, if we just change our mindset and think, this is it, guys, this is our moment to kind of build a whole new world, I think that will change everything.
Absolutely. And as we come together as groups within our individual countries, I see all of those groups of light, they burn brighter instantly because we're all together. And as you get all the high frequency people together, our frequency jumps so high because we're all together and we're not dotted around amongst some of the lower frequency people. Then it like makes a kind of a carpet, doesn't it? A grid. All of these high frequency hubs of light all over the world start to spread out and join. And then before you know it, we're in that fifth dimension in physicality because we've created it. We literally created it by bringing our light together. I see it as building a new cell. If you think of a cell in the body, we are literally building the new cell and the old cell is falling away. And so in order to do that, we have to bring a level of energy to it. And the starting point of that, I feel, is all of us beginning to come together and build actual communities together.
This is true, yes. I'd like to just interject because a lot of people would say, like, well, how do we do that? What do we do? A friend of mine and myself, we, about 2 years ago, you know, when things changed, we decided to start our own community to assist people, you know, and to find people like ourselves. And we started a group on Telegram. And in the beginning, it really was like pretty dead. But we kept it on. We kept supporting. We kept sharing things and putting things on, even if we just get that one person. And now, I mean, it's just for our town. And obviously this consciousness of thinking of doing this, then all of a sudden they were popping up and elsewhere around, you know, the next town over was starting, and then another town over was starting. And now it is quite a big community, and we do meet up. We meet up on a social level. We've started a toddler group as well for awakened parents, also for home ed parents. We've started that. We've started a teen group. You know, so there's all these little things we've started. But what I've also noticed is there is an even bigger community. I think it's called The Community. And then they started bigger areas. And then they reached out to us and said, oh, you've got community. We said, yes. So we're all kind of coming together, just like you've described, of how people are doing it. Now, all people have to do is start a group in their town. That's all you have to do. You can't sit around and wait for other people to do it. This is the thing. We wanted a toddler group. We created a toddler group. Wanted a teen group. We wanted an awakened group. We created it. You have to be the leader. You've got to step up and do it. Be what you want to see. You know, you've got to do it. And it's not hard. It's not hard to do.
And that's something that I'm desperate for. I mean, I'm desperate to build up a community of awakened parents that have children that are awakened as well, because, you know, my kids, they really struggle. You know, they'll interact with children that are, I hate the phrase asleep, but aren't aware of everything that's going on. But I want my children to not have to filter themselves, to put a filter on themselves and what they want to say, because the fear of, you know, being ridiculed. I want them to be able to share everything with their friends, and it's locating groups of people that have children as well, isn't it? That's the hardest thing. And obviously I homeschool my children now. There's many people that homeschool, but not all of them are awake. Some are, but not all. So that's a bit of a challenge for me. But that sounds amazing, and well done you.
Well, there you go. Start one.
Well.
The space is there for you to just create it.
Yeah. I'll put it on my list, Claire.
Put it on your list, right at the bottom of like 200 things you need to do.
So, what lifestyle changes do we need to make? And, you know, let's state the obvious ones as well. Let's state the ones that we've already made for those people that are watching this, that are newly awakened. But what lifestyle changes do we need to make on the ascension path? What's important that we do or don't do? So, Claire, again, I'll start with you at the top.
Well, I would just say my own personal lifestyle choices and changing is, I think, just being a healthier person, number one. You know, you got to keep your vibration high as best you can. And I'm not saying be perfect and all this kind of stuff, because we're still human beings and we came here to enjoy ourselves. But be very mindful, you know, what you're putting in your body, what you have around you, what people you're mixing with. It's just that vibration. I think that's important as well. But also one of the key things that's really important is educate yourself. Really educate yourself and stop being told by social media or television and all these kind of things of what you should be thinking, how you should be feeling. You've really got to stand in your own energy, your own self. What do I want? What do I feel? What's best for me? What's best for the people around me? You know, and just see what it is that will put you on a higher vibration. And again, I say the education is key. And I'm not talking about system education. I'm talking about really digging deep into things that you wouldn't normally look at. You know, what is good for my mind, my body, my soul, you know, and that is a key thing. And once you do that, if you switch off the TV or just change the vibration of what you watch, you know, change the vibration of the people you hang around with, and you will start to feel and see and educate yourself more. I think that is a key factor that's really important for self-growth, you know?
For me now, I cannot bear the TV on. I can't bear it. It's the frequency of it. I don't know what it is that comes out of it, but just the TV being on, I want to run as far away as possible in the opposite direction. And some of the song and some of the kids programs as well. I mean, I don't let my children watch a lot, but when they do, I'm sure that they must put certain frequencies behind some of them programs because they feel awful, you know, just awful. And I'm not going to name the programs, but so it's got to a point where you can't really let your children watch anything anyway. There's nothing that you can let them watch, so just switch it off. They don't need to watch it. Just switch it off. They can play with the toys like kids should do. They don't need to be watching TV. It's all programmed in their minds anyway. Lynette, what do you think? What lifestyle changes do we need to make?
Everything that Claire said. Yeah, I mean, for me, like my personal journey, I started out in like 2008, cutting out the television, like cutting out the news, cutting out watching TV in general, even like the History Channel and like all that stuff. I just shut the TV off. So to your point, shut the TV off, right? Just be careful of what's going into your body, into your mind, right? Like, and then also I stopped listening to the radio, you know, like I couldn't even like, even just like regular music, like mainstream music was not resonating with me. And so I ended up listening to like Liquid Mind channel on Pandora, you know, just like high vibe frequencies, right? Frequency music. I changed my diet in 2012 to a plant-based diet and eliminated meat because meat is very, very dense, right? It lowers our vibration. So I know that there are some people that still include some meat and that's, you know, their preference. But for me, it wasn't even like I was being guided to cut the meat out for myself. So I think for a lot of people, a lot of light workers, cutting meat out is a big deal. And then just making sure that even things that you're listening to on alternative media, YouTube and so on and so forth, is high vibe and not really going down the rabbit hole, you know, of like what's happening today in like the dark agenda. And I know that for myself, like I am one of those people that I will listen to the truth or news, if you will, but I really try and follow those people who have a higher vibration, who are delivering the message in a higher vibe form versus a lower vibe form, like focusing on like the doomsday stuff. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to really focus on like being aware of what's happening, but not allowing myself to go down the hole, if that makes sense. So I think that all of those things are super important. And then also just following your bliss, right? Just, you know, like, what does your heart desire? What brings you joy? Surrounding yourself with people who are helping you to raise your vibration, helping you go higher versus people that when you're around them, you're like, oh, you know, like, I don't resonate with this person. Like find the people that are resonating with you and, you know, and all those things.
Thank you. Yvette.
I really resonate with the diet changes. It was early, I think it was about early 2017, and I was stood in the kitchen and I was doing a bolognese and wanting to throw up at the thought of this bolognese. And a voice behind me, which is probably within me, said, "You've got 5 years." 5 years to what? And at that point, I knew, thank goodness, intuitively, I'd got 5 years to give up meat. So went plant-based at that point. Which was, you know, for me to be able to do the work that I do, and this is a personal thing, I don't have any animal products whatsoever, and I know, and that's just for me, and that other people do make a choice to have you know, little bits of meat there, but that was a massive thing there. Boundaries is another one. I think because people think because you're a light worker you're a soft touch.
Absolutely.
Or, you know, and actually that's not the case. And I think the more the more spiritually aware or awakened you become, the stronger the boundaries need to get. That's not to say that, you know, of course we're helping people all the time, but you just need those boundaries. And especially when it comes to frequency, you know, my frequency is the most important, full stop. And if somebody's got a salty ass frequency, yes, I will do what I can. Sorry, I should coin that phrase, shouldn't I? Salty ass frequency. But I will do, you know, what I need to do to help them, but I will not lower my frequency to make them feel better. It is not happening. You know, they need to take responsibility for their own frequency, and I can guide them to do that, but I'm not going to do it for them, you know. So, you know, that's been very important for me. You know, and of course I'm very careful about the toxins, so that's been a big thing for me. I guess over the last 4 or 5 years is detoxing. So whether that's doing a fast, I'll do a 3 to 4 day fast, it depends how I feel, twice a year. I know some people are really hardcore and do like 10-day fasts and things like that. So I'll do the fasting. I'm very, I'll use the word obsessed, but it's a bit of a low frequency word, but I am obsessed about the water that I drink. I'm obsessed about, you know, the food. I don't want chemicals on it, thank you. You know, the same with the products in the house. So, you know, whether it's a shampoo, a soap or a toothpaste, I don't want fluoride, thank you. So it's like you say, finding that dentist that's holistic, that understands that actually fluoride is a neurotoxin. Thank you, don't put it on my teeth, you know, don't put it anywhere near my gums. So all those sorts of things. And I think when you first discover that there are lots of poisons, for want of a better word, in products that are approved for human consumption and to put on our skin, that can be quite scary, you know. But if you just do it gently, you know, sort out the shampoos and conditioners if you use that sort of thing, and then as you're renewing things, then renew it with things that are plant-based, or, you know, some people, there's local companies that will make them, you know, that are beautiful. So that's been a big thing for me, I think. The detoxing, definitely a big thing.
You're completely right. And you know, when you first wake up, I used to spend hours looking at labels. My eyes would be going cross-eyed. I'd literally be going cross-eyed.
There's sodium lauryl sulfate.
and it's like you're seeing things for the first time, and then there's different layers to that, because you know, you start off with the high visibility culprits, like, you know, aluminium or aluminum, depending upon where you are, fluoride and all that kind of thing. And then, you know, I couldn't work out why it was. Every time I washed my hair, my head was itching. I used to think, why is my head itching? My head's on fire.
Goodness knows what's in it.
And I looked at my shampoo and it got wheat in it.
I know.
I'm like, why has my shampoo got wheat
I know.
in it? What?
Why would it?
And then you take gluten out of your diet and you realize literally every single thing in the goddamn world has got gluten in it.
It's almost like these companies have contracts with the companies, isn't it? You know, and that's the same, I think, when you first go plant-based or vegan, is that you're looking at things and you're thinking, why has it got milk in it? There is no logical reason this product needs to have milk in it. If they've got a contract with that company and it's all money in the back pocket, that's how it gets into the system.
Absolutely. And the amount of poisons, I was absolutely devastated the other day. I ended up in tears because one had slipped past me and the kids had already drunk it, so I couldn't do anything about it.
No, it's that time, isn't it?
It was in a spring water, flavored spring water. And I'd bought these flavored spring waters, and I bought several flavors, and I'd only checked like 2 of the flavors, seen that there wasn't anything bad in it. And so I'd bought 3 flavors, but it was the 3rd flavor that I'd not checked that had got a sulfamine K or something in it. I was so angry, and I was like, why is our entire world full of poison?
It's just a challenge, isn't it? Just to find something that's natural. Especially when you first start and you're making that transition. You know, I remember, I mean, my kids are like, you know, in the mid-20s now, but I've been obsessed with this a long time. So they never had aspartame or any of the sugars. But back then, 25 years ago, it was a little bit easier to find a squash that had just got sugar in it, you know, basic sugar. But now, almost impossible. But
in a way, it kind of forces you down that route of you have water.
Just water, absolutely.
And that's it.
Yes, that's your choice now.
That's your choice.
Which is, I mean, it should be, I
mean, we could do a whole show on that, couldn't we? And maybe we should at some point.
Yes, Yeah,
May-
it'd be very interesting actually.
Yeah,
It would.
I think people would like it.
Yeah.
Derek, what kinds of lifestyle changes have you made, or do you think people need to make when they wake up?
Well, definitely a plant-based diet. And I laughed at Yvette saying she heard a voice saying she's got 5 years. I mean, when I was a teenager, I went out for dinner, and the chef was about to serve me up helpings of meat, and the words literally fell out of my mouth. No, thank you very much. I'm a vegetarian. And I never looked back, and I don't know where it came from. My higher self, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. My youngest,
And
sorry, go on.
no, and also, I mean, I agree with Yvette. I always look at the pH when I buy water, and I'm very lucky that there's a farm close by that's got a pH of 7. So for those people that don't know, the higher the pH on the bottle is, the better the water.
Mhm.
And that's back to supporting your community and making your own food, because you know what's in it. And you stir in the love ingredient when you make it, which is the added extra, and it's vibrating at your vibrational frequency. That's why it's so good to make your own food, because it's upping your vibe.
It is, and it tastes so good. You know, when you're looking, I mean, I will sometimes stand in front of the pans of broccoli and carrots, and I'll just be like, oh my God, look at the colours. And James is like, it's just broccoli, Laura. And I'm like, but it's not. Look at it. Look at it. It's so green. But it is, you know, cooking your own food. If you are really appreciating and putting love into that food as you make it, it tastes superb. And if you're blessing your water and your food before you actually eat it or drink it, even better. Absolutely. Miranda.
Well, I'm going to agree with everyone on diet and water, consuming, natural, organic, locally grown if you can. I know I personally have switched to almost a completely plant-based diet. I'll occasionally have some salmon if I feel like I really need the protein. The other thing that I feel is important is doing some breath work. Do we really stop and breathe every day? Do we take a moment to say, I have this full 24 hours and I have the choice of what I'm going to do with it, how I'm going to manage my energy. So it's going back to surrounding yourself with high frequency people, setting those high boundaries like Yvette talked about. The other thing that I think is extremely important, that is a lifestyle change, that it's going back to nature. Are you spending any time communing with nature? Are you literally standing outside and feeling the sunshine on your face? Are you taking that time on a regular basis to reconnect with the earth? I think those right there are some of the biggest things that you can do for yourself to keep yourself in a high vibrational state. So those are my recommendations.
I totally agree. And I experienced that for myself this year, because I somehow, through working too hard, managed to get myself into quite a low frequency towards the back end of last year. And it wasn't until I went out into nature and felt, boom, the power of Gaia in the trees, in the air, in the river, in the flowers, in the ferns, that I realized, wow, you need to not do this again. Just exactly as what Yvette's just said, there needs to be some boundaries put in to everything so that you maintain your own frequency and you aren't affected by the vibration of other people. So getting out into nature and hugging a tree, or putting your back against a tree, or just standing in a wood. I mean, woods and forests are just the absolute most high frequency place ever. And I think all of us need to, if we're not doing it, need to incorporate it into our daily life. And ideally, if there's some sunshine in there as well, if you're in a place where there is sun, get some sunshine. Emily.
So I have to agree with what Yvette was saying. about setting boundaries. I know for myself, I've not always been the best with that, but I think for another thing that we need to work on, and I know that I'm working on this, is embodying sovereignty. You know, being used to not having to explain yourself. If you feel that you want to say no or set those boundaries, or, you know, your heart's telling you that you need to do something, you don't need to explain the why. You just follow through. Like, if you need that time to meditate, or you need that time to go and hug the tree, or whatever it is for you, do it. You know, like, we don't need to explain ourselves. If that's your truth and that's what your heart's telling you to do, just do it without having to over explain yourself. And I know it's something that I've struggled with in the past, but, you know, if you keep practicing and you keep doing it, it does get easier.
It does. Thank you so much. Thank you. So what advice can we give to newly awakened people then? I think we've covered a lot of it in that last question in terms of dietary changes and lifestyle changes. But is there anything else? I'm going to throw this out to everybody. So I'm not going to do this as a round robin. So if you want to answer this question, jump in. What advice can we give to the newly awakened? What do they need to know? Derek?
The best advice that I can give is to focus within, find the place of peace within inside of your heart, and the love and the joy and the happiness and all the high vibrational, beautiful energy will come with that, because it's all inside of you. Everything that you need to know is already inside of you. All the questions and what is good for you is already inside of you. And the other bit of advice that I'd actually give to the people that are newly awakened is support each other. So, you know, even people that maybe you don't agree with their views or their beliefs or whatever, they're not the enemy. We are all one. So we really need to remove all judgments. And I know that we get triggered, but when we get triggered, don't buy into it. And you say to yourself, I'm being triggered and I'm not going to let anybody disempower me. I'm going to hold on to the power, the light, and the vibe that I am. And just come from that place of truth within inside of you. And you'll feel that vibration. You'll feel that peace. You'll feel that love. You'll feel that joy. And that comes from sitting quietly by yourself, maybe listening to a meditation, or if you've got some sort of technique of meditation, getting into nature, even just listening to the water, the sound of falling water, running water is a meditation within inside of itself, or the wind, everything's energy. And by doing that, you're tuning into the fields of energy, and everything's energy. So that's what my advice is to people.
Beautiful, Derek. Thank you. Lynette, did I just see your hand pop up then?
My advice is to actually find people that are awake, you know, so whether that's if you're in an area where you're not locked down, going to like a yoga studio and taking classes, going to like local crystal shops or metaphysical shops and talking to the people that work there, attend any classes that are there, reach out on, like, get onto Telegram and search for groups, or Facebook and search for groups that are talking about New Earth, or anything, right? Ask for book recommendations, you know, for like Dolores Cannon or Eckhart Tolle, or, you know, any of these spiritual teachers who I personally have found great awakenings, you know, just from reading these books. You know, I started out with Eckhart Tolle's Power of Now, probably the most life-shifting book I've ever read. And so that would be my advice.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yvette?
Sorry, I just wanted to agree with Lynette there as well, that about books, that's really, really important. But a big one that I'm finding with clients that are newly awakened is the anger. And they need to process that. It's very difficult because it depends what rabbit hole they fell down. And my advice would be, if you've fallen down a rabbit hole and you've gotten to such a low frequency, stop. stop going down, just don't look at any more, and come away and get out into the woods. You know, do that meditation, you know, sing, dance, do whatever it is you have to do to get your frequency up, and don't go back there for a while, you know, because there are some dark rabbit holes you can fall down when you've awakened even to the first layer, and then there are so many layers after that. And whilst it's important that we have an awareness of things that may be or are happening on the planet, you know, we can't fix everything. All we can fix is our own frequency. So whilst people might be worrying about, you know, I'm trying to choose my words carefully, things to do with tunnels and DUMs and certain medications and drugs, people maybe have absolute anger about that. That's true, but you know, when you step back and there are, you know, there's the light system that are rescuing children and doing lots of work there. And we can do the healing, distance healing. So it's flipping it and doing something positive. So rather than getting angry about the situation that you've just discovered that may have been going on for millennia, then project that out and send healing, or raise your frequency up, rather than, because it is, I've known some people get very angry, very, very angry about what's happening, and you know, they're feeling cheated, but that has to be processed. And then just to know that it's being dealt with, you know, it's being dealt with, and the way that we deal with it individually is to raise our frequency and not focus all of our intention on that. So that's been a big thing that I've noticed just with clients, really, is that, yeah.
I would agree as well with you there, Yvette. It hits you hard, I think, when you find out some of that stuff.
Like a baseball bat round the head, isn't it?
Yeah, but you've got to stop going down the rabbit hole then, because up at a certain point it's not going to help you. You've got to concentrate on going back up and helping in the way that we can.
Yes, in a frequency way, energetic way, rather than a physical way. But as humans, many times we want to do something physically. And of course that's just not possible for many of us in a certain situation, but absolutely we can help on spiritual or frequency level. Many of us can remote view, so that, you know, that's really good to be able to do that, to do the healing from there as well. So
Emily, did your hand go up?
It did, yeah.
Yep.
I was just going to say, leading on from that I think for a lot of newly awakened people, I know that this happened to me, it's very easy to kind of start to consume everything. You know, you want to know everything about anything, so you watch thousands of videos, you know, you join all the Telegram groups, you read every single book you can, but don't forget that you have the truth inside of you as well. Like, don't underestimate the truth in you, because I think a lot of the time when you're newly awakened, you kind of give away your power a lot of the time and think, oh, other people know more than me about X, Y, and Z. But no, in actual fact, sometimes you just need to shut it all off, like you were just saying, you know, and kind of go back inside.
Yeah, perfect advice. Claire, your hand went up.
It did. What I usually say to people, obviously when I'm doing coaching with them and they come into being, you know, newly awakened, is, who are you? This is a key thing, because society has told you from, you know, the beginning of your birth who you are. And this is where a lot of people fall into this hole of that type of world, is because they've been told what to think, what to feel, what to say. So getting back to the core of, who am I? What do I like? What do I not like? What do I want to bring? And fall in love with yourself, because you can only change the world when you change yourself. This is the key thing. So you change yourself. And one of the other things as well that I find, a lot of the, you know, you get different levels of awakening, and some are focusing on the more fighting side and, you know, that kind of thing. And the other side is more what they would say is a bit fluffy. But the problem is that we are not fluffy. We've been down that hole. All of us have been down that hole. And we understand that where you put your vision and your thought is what you want to create. Now, there's enough people focusing on the fighting, and I really do hold space for them. But when that's finished, where are they going to go? So people like us need to build something. And again, it's mind, body, soul, environment. We need to have something there to go, okay, this is where we are, this is where we're going. And they are still going to have to go within themselves, because they are going to have the anger, like Yvette said, they're going to have the anger, the upset, and all. So they need to work through that themselves and figure out who they are, where they're going, what are they doing, what do they want, what do they want to see. So this is where we come in, and we are not fluffy, we're not ignoring it, we're observing it from a distance, but someone's got to have this corner, and this is where we are having this corner for everybody else that's ready to come. And I'm sure there's other lighter beings that are looking at us and holding space and corner for us when we're ready to go as well.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a chain, isn't it? And we're all like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're all playing a part.
We are.
So I want to talk about Ascension now, because over the years, I have heard so many different things regarding Ascension. I've heard many people say in sessions that we're taking this body. I've heard many people say in sessions that we are turning into crystalline. I've heard other people in sessions say, no, we leave this meat sack behind, and we instantly begin playing the game in our new avatar, which is the avatar of the 5th dimension, which is your light body. I've heard people say that it's a solar flash. That's what's going to happen at Ascension. I've heard people say it's a pulse from the Grand Central Sun. I've heard people say your heart's a portal, and that's how we access it. It's nothing to do with anything else. It's the heart portal that we go into, and then that's how we get to New Earth. And I've heard other people say it's just incrementally raising your vibration, and at a certain point, you'll get there. So what is everybody's opinion on Ascension? What does everybody believe it actually is? So let's start at the top with Claire. Claire.
It is because your mind will change as you experience new things, and I do know based on my own personal experience, it definitely is a frequency vibration from within, because I've been at certain levels of frequency where things look completely different. So that different dimensional level or frequency level is in front of us, and it's there. But that is, I would say, on an individual level. But when it comes to this ascension that we are all partaking in, I think it's a group collective of a lot of us that are coming up and raising our frequency, which then it literally just opens up that level of dimension. Now, obviously, we have all been under, and we've asked these questions under hypnosis. What is it? What's going on? What's happening? And some people are seeing flashes. Some people are saying it's from within. And what I experienced when we asked this question was, what is it, or how does it come about that things change? What does it look like? And again, there's colors, tastes, experiences that we don't experience here. It's very dull and gray, actually, compared to what we are going to be going to. But what I was told is when we raise our vibration as a collective, it's like a popping of a seal, and we just move into that energy. But there needs to be a collective of it, as well as an individual level of where we are going. And I know it's achievable because I've done it myself as an individual and stepped into a higher dimension, and it looks very different. So it is possible.
Thank you. Lynette.
So writing on what Claire was saying. So I've regressed Claire a few times, and we've actually asked about Ascension in her sessions. And she channels a collective called The Group. And I think it was our last regression, if I'm not mistaken, you connected with the group, and we specifically asked, what is going to bring about the flash? And that's exactly what Claire said, is exactly what they said. They said that when we, as a collective, raise our vibration to a point, it's like it's like we pop into the 5th dimension, and that is what creates the flash, is what they said specifically. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy to share the link to that particular session, so you can put it in the session notes.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah,
so that people can watch it. It was an incredible session. It was really just fantastic. Just very specific questions around what is bringing about the flash, and it was pretty incredible. So,
It's all resonance and frequency, isn't it? And when we get to that certain resonance, it's like we magnetize to that higher level, to that higher frequency band, to that different radio station. It's what we're tuned into, isn't it? So we're gradually, as we speak, untuning or tuning out of this particular radio station that we've been listening to for years.
Yeah.
Which, although certain parts of it are very beautiful, we've done it. We're kind of we're done, and we're gradually tuning into a new radio station. And so that's what I think all of us need to be doing now. We need to be thinking, okay, well, what kind of music do we want on our new radio station? And let's get there. Let's tune into it.
The thing that's important for us to understand is that everything that is happening right now with all of the shenanigans that are being that we're experiencing, right? with everything. I was going to leave it at that. It's actually for our benefit, right? Because this is what is creating the awakening. It is what is making people wake up to the fact that we're living in a matrix, that we live in an illusion, and is getting us to the point where we are in that unity consciousness. It is bringing us all together. So the more we can kind of just relax and say everything is happening for us, right? Everything is in divine order, and watch it like a movie and don't get wrapped up in it, the more we are kind of stepping outside of the movie, right? And we're just like, that's interesting. Wow, what are they doing next? Oh, that's kind of cool. You know, like, wow, that's really waking a lot of people up.
Yeah.
So I think that's, you know, that's the biggest thing, is just remember, everything is always in divine order. Everything. Everything is happening for us, for our benefit. So even though it looks dire and it looks, you know, like, and it may be painful and all those things, it's happening for our benefit. So just keep that in mind all the time. That's like my mantra. Everything is always in divine order. Everything is always in divine order. Everything is always in divine order. Even things that are not going in my favor are always in my favor.
Yeah. And it's creating a charge, isn't it? Whatever's going on at the moment, it's creating like a friction, like a charge, because there needs to be an energy created that will allow the two to go whoop, and push each other away. No, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. Whoop.
Yeah.
Yvette.
Gosh, so all of those aspects of the ascension that you spoke about, I think I've had every different variation in sessions. I've had them where, you know, they've seen a flash externally. I've had many where it's been an internal flash, and that certainly is something that resonates with me. And it feels very much to me that on an energetic level, like the ladies have said, you know, we're raising our own frequency individually, but on a collective consciousness scale, it feels like at some point it'll just, like Claire says, it's just going to snap. It'll be like this tipping point, but it's boom, that's it. We're over, we're there. I've had many people in hypnosis see themselves in that crystalline form. In fact, I had one woman that saw it on a conscious level where her hand was crystalline, but she didn't feel as if she was all crystalline. She felt as if she had the outline or part of her meat suit. So for me, it feels like on a personal level that I will take my meat suit, but as those frequencies get even higher, because I'm not stopping at 5D, I'm going up, baby. I'm going up to the 9th, 10th, 11th. I'm going up there. So I would expect that my body will get less dense and more crystalline till I get to the point where it's not necessary. So that's how I see it for me. When you know, I've had clients that have seen, and I know a lady that channels Council of 9, she's seen it on many occasions, and the colours are so vibrant. That's the big thing she notices. And, you know, 20 odd years ago when I first was taught Reiki, I remember the master saying to me, you'll notice, you'll see things differently. And I can remember thinking, what does she mean? But the colours, even at that point, the difference in colours from what I was aware of to even just the 3D, you know, or 3-4D. So the colours there are very, very vivid. My understanding is that, and again, probably on a personal level, but I feel that I will still be able to see anything that happens in 3D if I so choose to. So I will have the ability to go up and down like this if I choose to. I won't want to because I'm up here in these incredible frequencies. But those that are on a conscious level, on a soul level, have decided to stay within the 3D, can't access this higher level. So it's almost like I don't exist to them. I'm just not existing.
Yeah.
When I had a session years ago, oh gosh, so long ago, they showed me the dimensions all the way up, all the ones I could access, and they looked like flat discs. It was quite odd. I was out in space and they were just line discs. And so that for me made it easier to comprehend going to the next level because it was so thin, like the veil was incredibly thin. It's not this, you know how we see these pictures of these two big planets pulling apart and you think, oh gosh, that's a real big task to do that. Actually, they made me feel like it's like really easy. You're making this hard work and like it's very easy to access those. And it's just all about the frequency, focusing on your own and then push it out and then get that collective consciousness, you know, to that tipping point. Do I feel about the flash? The heart resonates where there'll be a flash within, absolutely. I don't put too much energy into an external flash because if I'm not indoors, potentially that could wipe me out. I don't know. There's lots of biblical things on that, isn't there, to do with, you know, if you were on top of the roof, get in the house and all that. And I thought, oh, I don't like the fear that comes with that. So I don't focus on it. I just think, wonderful, if there's a spark within, I'll go wherever divinely I'm supposed to go. Yeah, that's where I am with that.
The only energy that I've ever had around it is whatever it is, it's going to be amazing.
Yes, feels incredible, doesn't it? Feels.
Yeah.
I get that in lots of sessions, Laura, and I know that you do too, in that I've had many clients that will feel it. So, and it's just bright and they sit there and they've got this huge grin on the face, don't they?
Yeah.
And you know that they're in that and you just like, just breathe it in. I've got all day, you know, I watch, but they're feeling that energy. And I've one incredible client that in his waking state accessed it in all its glory. Accessed it, but entered the Western medicine system and got brought down to earth quite quickly. But he accessed it, and now he realizes it was a huge awakening. He calls it his awakening now, and he was able to access everything all at once. And it was, he talks about it in being so different to the 3D, so different, like to be that elevated all the time. It is quite incredible because we kind of dip in and out of it, don't we? You know, we can access that. But I think that's why meditation is so important, because people who don't necessarily know what those 5D energies feel like or can feel like, doing a group meditation or even a meditation on your own, if it's the right one, can really knock you into the stratosphere and you can feel it. You won't want to come back out of the meditation because you're accessing those energies and then you come back down. So for me as well, that's why the meditation is important, you know, to know what it feels like. And then it's much easier to manifest, of course. Once you've had a taste of it, you think, I know what that feels like. And then you see yourself already there as if it already is.
And it just feels like utter bliss.
I know.
And you can understand why, you know, they say there is no fear in that dimension. It's almost incomprehensible, isn't it?
Yes.
And then you come back into this dimension
like,
with that energy.
Like make it stop.
Yeah, it's tough. Derek, what does Ascension look like for you?
Well, Ascension, for those people that don't know, that might will end up watching this, we also call it the time of the bifurcation, and it's also known as a splitting of timelines. So basically, you've got one timeline that's moving in one direction up, say, to 5D and beyond, and the other one's actually descending down, and eventually they're going to split. So for me, I've also been shown and been told by my higher self in sessions that preceding the big split, they will hear a sound. Whether it's internal or external, I have no idea. It might be both. And then there'll be a solar flash and the event will be in the event. And I was showing myself arriving on New Earth, and everything looks sort of in a golden light and beautiful colors. Imagine my shirt, for example, becoming misty and me walking through the mist like in a fairy tale, and just really high vibrational, blissful, loving energy, and a very beautiful place to be in. And then you think to yourself, and this is what I was wondering about, what am I going to do there? I mean, am I just going to land up in one place, and what's going to happen next? And really, when we get there, whatever our passion is, whatever our interests are, we'll be able to pursue. If you want to go to other planets, if you want to go to other universes, everything there will be available. And also what came out of the session was that the new Earth will be much bigger than the present Earth that we're living on right now. It's going to be really huge.
Wow. That's interesting. And I feel it makes sense that there would be some sort of a sound that signifies the final splitting of one group going that way and one group going that way, because we've been together quite a long time, haven't we?
Yes.
So there's got to be something, hasn't there, that acknowledges, oh, there you go. They're off. So yeah, I do resonate with that. Thank you, Derek. Thank you. Miranda.
Oh goodness, I have so much to share about this. I'll try to sum it up. In sessions, my own, and then also sessions that I've had with others, they show it as everyone is on a layer, almost like a step. And we are, the faster that we raise the vibration, the faster people move up the steps into 5D. I have actually stepped into 5D, and it literally was the most beautiful, vibrant colors. I had a really interesting conversation with a man, and the entire conversation was about the gratitude that he had for his life. He just was so full of just love and just bliss and joy. He was doing what he loved on earth, and just really was such an amazing experience. The way that I kind of look at the ascension process is that you were talking about the friction and how things are, moving up in frequency. If we look at that in another way, imagine a hot pan full of oil with popcorn kernels, and slowly but surely one popcorn kernel over here starts to pop open and awaken, then another, and the oil gets hotter and hotter, and then eventually they all pop open. So to me, that's kind of how it happens in a collective sense. The higher the frequency, the hotter the oil, the more the popcorn kernels will open. What also resonates with me is the flash part. I do feel, from my own perspective, and what resonates is that it is from the heart. I think it's literally a flash opening of people's hearts. They have been shut off. We have been, living up here in the left brain and logic and all of that. And we've been so shut off from our right side of our brain and our creativity and our heart and kindness and unconditional love, compassion and empathy, which is what all of 5D is about. So that's kind of how it resonates for me. The other thing that I was going to just kind of piggyback on what Derek had said is that I truly do believe that there is parts of Earth that we've never seen, and possibly part of that sound is kind of a signal for us that these portals that have been hiding parts of Earth from us are going to be open, and then things really, really are revealed to us. So those places where we want to build community, that's where we go. I know my own personal experience, my very first Reiki session that I ever had, they said, they showed me a place and they said, this is where you go, and this is where you have retreats and you have workshops and you heal people and you have a partner and all of these wonderful things. And I kept asking in meditation, where is this place? And they said, you'll know it when you see it. And then portals kept coming up. So I really, really feel that it's a multifaceted answer, but that's kind of how I view and put it all together. So.
And you just saying all of that just made me feel so excited.
I think Derek is so very right that there is so much that has been hidden from us for the dark agenda. I'll just leave it at that. And that we have no idea the beauty that we're about to see. So yeah, I'm very, very excited. Let's keep those popcorn kernels opening.
Yeah, and what a brilliant analogy. That was superb. So in terms of our ascension, we know definitely that one of the things that we have to do is to keep our vibration as high as possible, because we know that everything is energy, everything is frequency, and the fifth dimension resonates at a higher frequency. We know that we access the fifth dimension through the heart opening. So we need to become kinder, or we need to run every decision that we make, not through our heads, but through our hearts. We need to start growing our heart energy. That was something that I got told in a session a couple of weeks ago. We've got to start actively growing our heart energy, feeling into the heart energy, recognizing what it is, and now making it bigger. How can you make it bigger? Well, I think that's got to stem with gratitude and kindness and love. Those three factors have got to be. So as a parting message from everybody, what do you think are the main things that we need to be doing now in order to move forwards, in order to keep the popcorn kernels popping in the pan, in order to help the new popcorn kernels that have just popped understand that they're in a pan? What do we need to be doing? What's your final message from everybody? So I'll start with Claire.
I think it's very important that we need to understand we have to stay in reality, because there's a lot of things going on around us telling us what to think and feel. But for example, you know, you're sitting at home. This is for the everyday normal person. You're sitting at home, you've got the news on or whatever it may be, and you're getting so sucked in to this kind of thing. And it's not your reality at all. It's someone else's reality. It's just on the box. Switch it off. Get into the moment of the now. What is really happening? You're sitting on your really comfy sofa. You might have a nice cup of tea in your hand. You know, whenever your partner comes in and says, would you like something? Or shall we go for a walk? You know, your children are holding your hand and you can feel that, you know, and they might be arguing, or they might be wanting a cuddle, or they're running in front of you, or whatever. You're walking your dog, or you're with your loved ones. That is reality. That is reality. And stay in that. And you decide what your reality is. And you perceive, I'm choosing today to see the best and hold gratitude in every situation. And don't get me wrong, yes, life is going to come along and slap you on the ass every now and then. It just does that. But it's like, it's okay. What can I do on a realistic level, instead of worrying and panicking and living in my head and getting all, because this is what a lot of people do. They spend 95% of the time panicking about something that probably needs 5% attention. And you just fix that problem, get on with it, and move on, and be in the joy. Just be in the joy of your life. You know, this is what is important to be doing. And switch off. It's too much noise. It really is too much noise. And one of the things that was important when we had this quiet time, let's call it quiet time, where we were all meant to stay at home and things, you know how many people actually realized, they were like, wow, I love my family. What do I want to do? What do I like? And people started taking up music lessons. People started taking courses. People started figuring out who they are and what they are, and falling in love with themselves and their families and their environments. And this is why we benefited from this. So everybody should have more quiet time. Just get away from the noise. Get away from this unnecessary noise and go into a place of now. And that's where you will find it. This is where you will find everything for yourself.
And it is so true when you go out into nature and you switch all of the stuff off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the beauty, if you listen to the sounds of nature, there's no panic there, there's no fear there. And, you know, that stillness. Everybody needs to switch off the tech every now and again. I know we need it for various different things. We're on it now, but we need to have that proportion of time where we ground ourselves, center ourselves, and remember the frequency and the heartbeat of Earth. So yeah, I completely agree with you. Thank you, Claire. Yvette.
Okay, so for me, I would say that for the newly awakened, that it is a process and that it happens in stages. And so the shadow work, I can't think of a better word, has to be done. It has to be done so that any heaviness, I'm just thinking of clients I see with sadness, depression, anger, all of that, it has to be dealt with either through meditation, connecting to your higher self, figuring out where it comes from, whether it's this lifetime or a previous lifetime, wherever the root cause is, and just bringing light in. You know, in meditation, if you focus on the feeling that you're getting, access it within your light body and bring white light in through the body and transmute it. Just pull it out, pull it out. And to do that, and even, you know, we're constantly doing shadow work. We never get to a point, well, not just yet, where we think, oh, that's it, job done. We can sit back now, because that's not happening. And the way that I see where my work needs to be done is what's triggering me. So if I'm out in la la land and something triggers me, I take a step back, I see it as an observer and think, oh, God, what work have I got to do now? And it might be around somebody with one of these, or it might be something else. And I have to step back. And at that point, as an observer, that person doing that it's not harming me. It's not hurting me. It's their reality. It's their choice, their soul decision. So I then have to go within and figure out why do I feel that way? What is it that's triggering that emotion within me? And then again, it's very simple, just breathe in that beautiful white light. Or for me, it's white light. For other people, if I'm with clients, I'll ask them what color they want to bring in, you know, and they'll bring in a certain color and then transmute it out and just see it dissolving away, very much in the way when we do soul center healing, you know, and you're seeing that energy as a shape or a color. Then just bring the light in and get rid of it, you know, just do it that way. And more importantly, if you feel that, oh, there's something there and I can't, then just reach out to somebody, you know. The healers, you know, we can all help with those sorts of things, you know, because it's the stuff that we've been through. But just to know that it happens in stages, rather than it's not, very rarely is it one big bang and you're awake. It's usually gradually and then it lulls and you're okay for a while. You can smile and it's wonderful, and then suddenly, whoa, you're going down. But that's okay. I call that the well. That's okay to go in there, but then figure out why you're in that well and then do everything you can with all the tools, you know, and we've spoke about quite a lot of those today, to get your frequency back up, because the only person that's responsible for your frequency is you, nobody else. So if you've gone into that well, get out of it, because you can. You've got all the tools and the power is within you.
I'm gonna record your voice saying that and like replay it over and over in my head. Every time one of my kids triggers me, Yvette Shepherd is saying, get out of the well, get out of the well.
What can you learn from this?
Yeah,
why am I being triggered?
Yeah. Derek.
Well, a lot's been said already, but what I'll add to is that, I mean, I can only talk from my own personal experiences. Life's really been about a healing journey. And as Yvette says, you've got to work up on yourself, and whatever you're feeling, whatever you're seeing, you've got to make those changes if they aren't good for you. And they're decisions that you actually make, and you think to yourself, well, you know, there's some things that don't mean what they used to in my life anymore, that I put them maybe up there, and they've just lost their meaning, and things that I've learned and things that have been taught. Well, you then make a decision to actually let go of those things. And this life's all about healing. It's a healing journey. I mean, I've worked and worked and worked on myself. I said, you know, there can't possibly be any more. And then there's so much more. And you think, okay, I'm really done with it now. And then suddenly Ascension's happening. And oh my God, you know, it's just...
It's been a real trip, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But at least we're all smiling, which, you know,
Yeah.
that's going to be a good thing. Miranda, over to you.
I would probably say managing your energy, or at least starting to be aware of managing your own energy. This goes along with boundaries. It goes along with where you're putting your energy, social media, scary news stories. What are you putting in your body? You know, what kind of water are you drinking? What kind of foods are you eating? Are you moving your body? Are you going out in nature? The other thing that I can think of is be kind to yourself. Give yourself compassion when you're moving through those layers of shadow work, because some of them are going to be pretty ugly. And the more that we resist doing the shadow work, the harder and the more painful it can be. So knowing that this is just a layer, this is a lesson, this anger, this fear, this anxiety, this depression, whatever it is a lesson for me to move up into my frequency so that I can access 5D. I can access more love for myself, more love for others in my community. So
thank you. Thanks, Miranda. Emily.
So I think my final message is to say, you know, Ascension is happening. I've had this quite a few times come up in sessions that they're like, it will happen, you know, it is happening in our lifetime, as much as sometimes we might think it's not with what's going on in the exterior. But we are, you know, we are making a difference with us all working on this shadow side and raising our frequency. We've dodged some major bullets. I've had this come up in sessions as well, where I've been told the higher self has said, you know, that we've avoided some of these lower timelines because we are raising our frequency. So don't forget that, you know, we're here to do this. We've got this, you know, we're here to shine our light. We are, you know, the way showers, and we will make it through. You know, we just got to keep doing what we're doing.
Yep, exactly. Thank you, Emily. Lynette.
You know, when all of everything started happening in 2020, I was very much in the, you know, wake up, just can't you see what's happening? And over the, you know, last year, I realized that that it's not my job to awaken people, right? It's what's happening is awakening people. And so for me, it's just a matter of being patient and realizing that everyone's going to awaken in their own time. And I am just here to help when they've awakened, right? That I can answer questions, you know, help guide, and so on and so forth. And the other thing too is to remember that, you know, when we and this has been a lesson for myself, is sending love to those that are on the dark, right? Who are driving all of this, sending love to them and being out of judgment, right? Being out of judgment of people who are still asleep or who haven't awakened yet, being out of judgment of those that are the controllers and who are making all of this happen. That for me has been just a huge lesson. And so I just wanted to share that.
Because everything is divine, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
It's all divine, and Source sees both timelines as valid because they're both experiences that Source wants to experience. Right. So it's not that one timeline is better than the other. They're just choices. And every choice that is made will eventually lead back to the one, because we're all one.
Yeah. And to understand that our higher selves are guiding our experience, right? So we are all having the experience that we're meant to have.
Yeah.
And so me releasing judgment of the fact that, you know, people are making certain decisions, I'm like, oh, well, that's their higher self is in control, right? And so they are following the path that they are meant to follow. So I need to step out of judgment of their choices, because my path isn't better than their path. It's just different.
And their path's the best path for them in their soul growth. Yeah, absolutely.
Right, exactly.
So I want to thank all of you so much from the bottom of my heart for having this chat today. I think it's really, really important. And I think as a group of people, we need to do this more often. We need to talk about what's happening. We need to talk about Ascension. We need to check in terms of group meditations. You know, have we organized anything? We need to share any information about groups that are popping up in our local areas and how we can start getting people together. And it's a good place to share information on Ascension if we get anything that's interesting that comes up in the sessions as well. So I do intend on doing more of these. So I want to thank each and every one of you for coming on. I will put all of your information into the YouTube description at the bottom. So if anybody watching this video would like to book a session with any of these beautiful people, then you can. So I'll put all of their information down in the bottom of this YouTube description. So thank you all very, very much. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for sharing your light and your expertise. And I've really, really enjoyed it. Thank you all very, very much. And I'll catch up with you all very, very soon. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.